just because people look at that and they're like, oh, dude, it's cruel.
Yeah.
It's like, no, it's management.
Yeah, right.
You're doing what's best for your dog.
Some
what's
people
best for
think,
you.
some people think if your dog's in a kennel during a party that it's cruel.
No.
It's not.
That's their time to hang out.
Which they would just be sleeping on the couch anyway.
Right.
Same thing.
Yeah.
So, whatever.
Your dog, probably most of the dogs that we go to, they're anxious when there's a party because they're pacing
Yeah.
around.
They would
They're
prefer to be in the
Exactly.
couch.
They'd
They
rather
would
have a
prefer
calm
to be
place.
away
Yeah.
out of the chaos.
Yeah, it's more cool to have your dog in that chaos where it's just like
Making them go through those bad repetitions, feeding those less than positive mindsets.
Yeah.
But I mean, it again, it comes down to responsibility. Even if in that party you let Bane out, you're still not like 100% just engaged with your host, where you're hosting.
yeah.
You're still like watching. You're still observing your dog's body language. You're still being very hyper vigilant and like doing the responsible thing. You know what I'm saying? Like even if you get to that point.
I mean, I will let him out sometimes, and again, I'm watching him the whole time.
I know he's stolen some of my cheeseburgers sometime off my plate.
He does like your cheeseburgers.
Yeah, he does. And the hot dogs. You know?
And your hot dogs.
Yeah, but the point is, you're still taking ownership. You're taking responsibility, doing what you're supposed to be doing as a dog, a dog owner. And if people can't do that level, then they have to do the other level of putting them up. And you got to be able to live with that. You know what I'm saying?
Don't let it, like, the thing is, people let it affect them too
Yeah.
much. It's
So
like not
weird.
a big deal.
You're just
Yeah.
controlling the
Care
environment.
People
about it
like
more
look
than
at
they
me like
care
I'm
about
the
it.
devil when I tell them, I'm like, you got to crate the dog when you have a 3-year-old birthday party,
Yeah.
and they're like, why? I'm
Yeah.
like, because I mean, your dog is not comfortable. Do you want
for the
to
dog,
lose your
dude.
house? Do you want to get sued? I
Yeah.
mean, it's your dog being crated for 3 hours is not the end of the world,
Right.
and you're doing right by the dog too.
Right, yeah.
You know,
You have a chaotic
you're not
environment.
setting them up to fail.
Yeah, you have a chaotic environment. It's just better.
Yeah.
Sometimes I wish I could put myself in the kennel.
Get out of the party.
Sorry, Kelly, I got to stay in the kennel for this one.
Should probably lock you in there.
She would.
All right, shifting gears now, we're kind of talking about responsibility. We're talking about there's a lot of dogs. What about spay and neuter? What do you guys think about that? You know, a lot of people are going to tell you, you need a spay, you need a neuter.
I think it's good for a population, but I think a lot of people look at, especially neutering, for a behavioral fix. And it's like everything that we've read, it's not maybe a little bit, take the edge off, but it's not guaranteed. But also, I think that's something that's over kind of prescribed too.
Yeah.
If you're a responsible dog owner, you want to maximize aesthetics, and like a Doberman, for instance, you go the full 2-3 years, and then you can get the neutering, obviously, to avoid cancer in the areas and all that good stuff. But at that point, too, you have to kind of make sure that no accidental things happen, so that's a responsibility thing. I think that a lot of, especially the rescues and foster, and I get why they do it, they want to, they're trying to help their own business out. If I spay and neuter this dog at 8 weeks old before they get adopted out, I don't have to worry about it later, and things that I've read, it won't necessarily cause problems, but it's like too early. They haven't grown, they haven't developed everything that they need to develop. What they need those like hormones and things from. So I think that it happens too early a lot, but I can also see why they do it.
So, I mean, based on our research, like The Dog's Mind, that's a book that we've mentioned pretty frequently. So I definitely recommend that book, but they touch on this a little bit. But like basically, it's probably a bigger deal with males than it is with females. And so like hormones do play a factor with this, and it can affect the dog's mind. So like what he says, is that Bruce Fogel, right? He's the author. So like what he says, Dr. Bruce Fogel, retired. He says with the males, like obviously there's testosterone at play, and that can affect the dog's mind, right? And so with behaviors that we would see where vets recommend neutering a lot would be something like dominance type things, right? Or marking in the house, or humping things, right? Different things like that. He says if the behaviors have not been established, there's a 50-50 chance, right? So like 50-50 chance it may curb those behaviors. If those behaviors are already established, it's very likely that it's not going to have any kind of effect, right? So if your dog has established a habit of marking on things inside of your house, you go and get them neutered, maybe it will curb it a little bit, but that behavior, you're gonna have to do something else to address that behavior, right? So like testosterone all plays in here. I think it's more beneficial to delay the neutering to get the benefits of the testosterone for them to fully develop bone structure, everything like that. From the female side, I don't know, but I don't think it's quite as big of a deal because I think the hormones affect them only whenever they're having, what is it called? Their heat, right? So like, which is what, like once or twice a year, right? Something like that. So like, that's where hormones get, like you can have like, you've heard of dogs having like phantom pregnancies, different things like that. So they'll get a little, maybe get protective, resource guarding, that kind of stuff. So like that can play a factor in their mind as far as the hormones affecting it. But outside of that, I don't think it's as big of a deal as far as the spaying them. And I don't remember exactly what his recommendation on is when to do that. Maybe before the first heat.
He said, he said if you do it before the first heat, you can curb some of those potential behaviors.
Yeah.
But I think if you wait after the first or second heat, then you get more hormone benefit.
Yeah.
There's a lot of hormone benefits to keeping them intact. For sure. What I'm saying?
Yeah.
But like, let's say you keep your male intact, right? You can still prevent the marking and the dominant behaviors. You just don't allow your dog to perform those behaviors.
Boom.
Your dog will only do what you allow it to do. I don't know how many times I got to say this freaking phrase. You know what I'm saying?